Hi and welcome to the channel. If you've not been on this channel before, my name's Andy Jenkinson, Caravan industry expert and historian, and author of 18 books. Right, for all those that do know me, hi. Sorry I've not been on for a week or two, been a bit busy. Now I think what I want to kick off is did you see the Channel 5 documentary on the golden age of travel, hiding in the 1970s, where I made a little brief appearance? If you didn't, you can catch up on the Channel 5 catch-up programme. And just to give you the heads up, I'm in the first really half hour. I did a little bit on Blackpool as well. What did I think it came out like? Oh yeah, I was quite happy the way it came. I did want to cover more, not just the tourist side. I wanted to cover static caravan side because they completely missed that completely, and I told them that's a very important part. Plus as well about how the motorhome in the 70s was also becoming more popular. But anyway, they know better than me, don't they? So if you saw it, please give us your comments. Please tell me if you thought it was okay. I'll be glad to know. Now, to carrying on with TV, tonight, I think it's ITV, there's a thing about Mr. Sold on holiday homes. Now, there's been a lot of hoo-ha about this because, all really down to COVID. Because what happened was, people wanted to get away, people just wanted to go anywhere. They just stopped in a tin shed if they could. And a lot of people thought, oh, I've got a bit of money, I'm going to go and buy myself a static caravan. Great, yes, that's it. But really, they did it without thinking. They didn't take a long think about it and think, well, hang on. You know, after the COVID thing, this isn't going to be around forever. We can go on our cruises, but if we buy a static caravan, we're not going to be able to afford it. And what the site fees and all this sort of thing, what's it all entail? So people rushed into it. Now, I'll admit, I'm sure there was a few salesmen that took advantage, a few salespersons, should we say, and that is naughty and that's not acceptable. But buying a static caravan, stroke lodge or holiday home, you've really got to, find out if the site is good. That's is it run properly? Talk to the site owner if you can. That's always a good indication, and also maybe 1 or 2 people on the park. Also, you need to find out, is that area great for you? Do you want to carry on visiting that area for the next 10 years? Because you're going to be in this for the long haul, because you've got to do that to get your value of your home back to yourself. And I think people were just completely missing all this. They just didn't see any of this. So I think what's happened is, yes, I do feel sorry for people that have been sort of maybe, how can I put it, I won't say so much directly misled, but maybe they were sort of looking at the salesman saying one thing and they were thinking another, and he was telling them how great it was, and they, oh yeah, but we'll better sell this off, another year, so we'll do that and then we'll carry on doing what we're doing. The trouble is, of course, then there was a glut in the market, and of course we know what happens when there's a glut in the market. The prices do take a tumble, but you don't buy a holiday home to make money on it. The only time you can make money on it if you can be on a park which allows you to sublet it. And I know 1 or 2 people who are doing this, and it'll take a year or 2 for it to pay for the holiday home, but it will pay for it eventually. And in between times, they use it themselves. So it's a win-win for them. Now, yes, we know there's been there's a lot of people have been, possibly misled. But I think also a lot of people misled themselves. I know it might sound a bit controversial on that. But I don't know about you, but if I'm buying something, especially something of a major purchase, it takes me weeks, sometimes months, because I want to research it. If I'm buying a new car, my last car, well, all my cars I've bought, I've gone into research mode. I found out reliability, resale values, basically handling, economy, all that sort of thing. and what it's basically going to be worth when it comes to the end of my usage. Am I going to be able to sell it on better? What colour should I choose to sell it on better? Because all these things make a big difference to when it comes to parting with the vehicle or whatever. You know, I'm sure you don't go rushing and buying a house just on the whim. I'm sure people have done, but I certainly wouldn't do. So I think this has been a bigger problem. I think there's been a bit of, I think it's been 50-50. So I think there's a bit of problems on one side with the buyer and also with the seller. Maybe the seller has put a bit of a sugar coating on things, or maybe the buyer actually put his own sugar coating on there and thought, wow, this is going to be fantastic, but you know, after 2 years, oh, well, it's not quite for us, and it's not for everybody. So of course now people are moaning and complaining, and there's all sorts of things going on. Now the trouble is the industry is not in a healthy state. It's nothing new in this industry. It goes up and down, as I've told you before. But at the moment, you know, things are sort of, it's coming up a little bit actually, in all fairness. Sales are slowly improving, but there's a lot of stock to work through. But as I said, what's happening is the holiday home is for the long haul. My sister's owned one, she's still on one, they've owned one now for 40 years. They've bought and sold a few, and you know, they just changed theirs about 2 years ago. They had a Willoughby, and they've got a new Willoughby, and theirs was in 2004, they bought it new, and I think it was like 20,000, I can't remember now off the top of my head. And I think they got about £5,000 or £6,000 for it. And they were saying to me at the time, what do you think we're going to get for that van? I said, look, you're not going to get a lot. And they said, well, we understand that, you know, because we've had our use out of it. We've had it 20 years. Now, they weren't forced to sell that van. You know, yes, the site owner may have said, oh, by the way, if you're looking at new models this year, there's one up there you might like. But that was it. There was none of this, you've got to sell it, if you're not, you're off. A lot of parks have been have relaxed a little bit on those rules, and I think quite rightly so. And I think the idea on my sister's park is that if the unit's looking in good order, not looking down, they've no real issue with that at all. Yes, of course, they want to sell you a new one, that'd be great, but they'd rather have that pitch, somebody on it, than it being empty. So you know, if you've got an older unit, then, and it's in good order, they're quite happy. It doesn't matter. So my sister wasn't under any pressure. They just thought, well, look, you know, maybe we should have our last new unit, and they bought another new Willoughby, and they love it. As simple as that. They're on the same plot where they were at. They're in a nice part of the park, quite secluded, very sunny spot in the afternoon. They've got a big bird feed. They get all the different woodpeckers and all that sort of thing coming on. And they love it. Now, again, not everybody wants that sort of park. Some people just like a busy park where they're sat there and there's other people very close by. Others just want to have a bit of seclusion. Some want to be by the seaside. Some want to be in the countryside. They like to be in the countryside, and they're in a good area up near the Lake District. They could be in the Yorkshire Dales. So this is what you've got to do. You've got to choose your plot, your spot carefully on your park. You've got to, you know, has the park got all the facilities that you want? Are you going to need them? Are you going to use them? And also, how are you for getting to the local supermarket? You know, because, you know, if it's 20 miles away, then yes, you may have to use the site, the park shop. That will be slightly more expensive, but also you go for days out. And if you're like in that area, like my sister does, where they are, it's like a second home to them. They come home sort of like once a week, mow the grass, pick the post up, and then they're back again. They're about 40, maybe about 30 odd miles away from home. But they've got great scenery, fantastic, they love it. And I think that's what you've got to look at when you're buying a holiday caravan. And I never heard, this has only happened since COVID. It's only happened since that initial big rush and people did things that they normally wouldn't have done. And it's the same with tourers when they're buying tours of motorhomes. You know, a lot of them dealers started, people coming back with the tour, oh, you know, will you buy me van off me? well, you know, you paid 20 grand for it, but it's now worth 14 or 13,000. Oh, how come I've only had it so long? Well, because, you know, look on the forecourt, there's plenty of vans coming back in. Prices have gone down, prices went up like anything when things are in short supply. Prices go up. That's one of those things. I'm not sticking up for the park owners. I'm not sticking up for anybody really. I'm just sort of trying to say, look, I'm not sort of sitting on the fence. I'm just sort of saying that, look, you know, you've got to look at it on both sides. Yes, some people may have been given a little bit of a misguidance, but others were, you know, just went in it really quite blasé. And just thought they'd just get the 40 grand back. It just doesn't work like that, does it? So anyway, there's that programme going to go on, so I'm going to be watching that very carefully. What else is happening? Well, used touring prices seem not to be quite as discounted. Not my local dealers anyway. They've sort of their sort of prices don't seem to be getting any slashed at the moment. There's a few knocking a bit of money off. Or some of the stuff that's sticking a bit, yes, you will get that off. Something like the old Bailey Unicorns now looking very old hat. But, you know, if you want a well-equipped tourer for not a lot of money, a Unicorn Mark 1, as long as the floor's okay in it and everything else is all right, can make a great buy for a first, you know, for your first van. And there are still people out there buying caravans for the first time, and we need more of them. We need to be, you know, we need to sort of bring people into the fold. Because how we do that, you know, is, I think, pricing lighter vans, because, you know, we've had this electric thing hanging over. Now the government have gone back, haven't they? Is it 2035 now, to still selling hybrid cars, petrol cars, whatever. So that's given everybody a bit of a breathing space. But interestingly, a couple of years ago I was talking to Adria, and they were telling me, I was saying to them, I was doing my preaching really. I was going, oh, you know, I said, I think the basic caravan needs to come back with basic essentials inside, but for the family who wants to be able to store it on their driveway, so it's got to be like 7'4" in width. It's got to be lightweight to tow behind most cars, and you know, it's for the family basically who don't want to spend a lot of money on a new caravan. They want a caravan, they want a new one, they want to buy a second hand, they want to be able to tow it, they want to be able to put it on their driveway, and also they're going to use sites with all facilities. You know, they don't want to be on a small site using their own loo and that sort of thing. If they do, then they can do it, but you know, that's what this caravan would be designed for, and lightweight and family layouts and a good attractive price. Now, Eldest with the Explorer have done that, but unfortunately, I think they've overdone it with the spec. I mean, it's phenomenal. I think there's too much spec on there. I would de-spec it, put the curtains back in, and the carpet back in, and take things like the ATC off. I'd take the extractor fan thing out. I'd leave the things like gas barbecue point, but other things that really you wouldn't expect to find in that class of caravan, I would exclude, because people don't buy that sort of caravan for that type of thing. You know, it's horses for courses. But anyway, going back to Andrew, they said, yeah, said actually we'll look at a van, Adria, called La Viva, and it's going to be lightweight. And I said, oh, this is really exciting. I got very excited. And I said, well, what's going to happen? Is it going to get, well, it might come to, you know, it might get launched at the October show. And I said, oh, that'd be great. We keep me informed. You know, I was getting really excited about it. And it all came to nothing. Not a thing. Now, if you might have seen, if you've looked at the Facebook page, Caravan Industry Expert Facebook page, you'll have seen that there's a chappie called Luca, steller in Italy, and I've been on his channel now twice. I was on his channel the other night, I think it was on Monday, and he's so enthusiastic, and he's constantly doing reviews, and he'd done a little review on the new Adria La Viva. I couldn't believe it, and from what I could see, I thought, do you know what, this could be a little winning tourer. It was a 3-berth. It was a bit based on the Action layout, and make it into 3 berths with a bunk above the double dinette. But I thought that layout could be played around a bit more. Maybe a little bit made a bit bigger, make it more of a friendlier 4-berth. And I don't know the weights, I don't know the price, but I know it is very, very, very competitively priced. And it comes with, like, you know, the basic essentials. So I'm hoping that's going to make its way into the UK, because I think if it does, I think they could have a little bit of a hit on their hands there, Andrea. Now, I think some of our manufacturers, well, what we've got left of manufacturers, but Swift would be my main choice, would be to get the, you know, with them to look at this and say, look, you know, actually, these guys have actually pulled a bit of a rabbit out of the hat here. We could do something very, very similar, which they could, and a UK version with more dealers. And I think it'd be, yes, the manufacturer's not going to make a lot of profit, the dealer's not going to make a lot of profit, but it would bring people into caravanning, and to when those people could afford it, to upgrade. And I think that's most essential, like it used to be back in the day. And that market sort of disappeared, but I think that market needs to come back, and I think there's a market for that market, daft as it sounds. So I think that's gonna happen. So I'm just hoping that this van will come to the UK shores. What I've seen pictures, I think it looks incredible. I'd like to do a full-blown review on it. So I'll keep, you know, if that happens, obviously, I'll keep you posted on that. What else is happening? Well, basically, still on book work, still doing book stuff, but I've been a bit, I've not touched anything for about 6 weeks, and you don't realise that time's gone. And I've got another book proposal to go in as well, which again, I'm way behind on. So that's another reason why I've not been on YouTube so much, because I was just trying to catch up. My loft, that's my now archive, again, I've been trying to do some work up there. There's loads to sort out, loads of practical caravans to move up from my garage up into there, so I can then, what I want to do is I want to drag my caravan out. My leisure battery is goosed, it's 12 years old, the leisure battery. It's goosed, it wants chucking. I'll have to get a new leisure battery. The tyres will need replaced on the van. But what I want to do is that van will need a good clean up. And I'm going to try and do a video on that, because I always kept my caravans absolutely spotless. I polished them, roof as well. And it's not been touched for 5 years. It's just been gathering dust, been mothballed basically. But I'm hoping once I've cleared my stuff, my practical caravans that are on a pallet, and they've been stored and put away, which I'm hoping to get done very, very soon, I can then do something with the caravan and get it cleaned up and see what we're going to do with it. Have we got anything to say? Well, new stuff I think still is getting discounted, though. Again, local dealership, Eldest stuff, no discounts on that. That's still the full price. So, but Eldest stock very slow to come onto the dealers' forecourt. So they're not. I think they're just not in full production, not because of so much sales, but because just they've had a reorganisation again up there. But we're promised for 2026 there's going to be some quite new stuff coming from Eldest, so that's going to be interesting. I think definitely a new AutoQuest motorhome is definitely on the cards. I thought it was going to be on the cards at February show, but no, it's been, I think, been put back to the October show. So I'm going to end this video. Thank everybody for watching. And oh, before I end it, actually, just say a big hi to Wayne, who, when I was out the other day with a couple of friends of mine, we were doing some photography, a place called Astley Hall near Chorley in Lancashire. Now, first of all, if you're ever in that area, go to Astley Hall. There's a parkland, they've got a lovely sort of cafe stroke restaurant there, and the house is very interesting. It's 15th century. You can go around there for a £5, which I think is incredible value. We spent a lot of time in there, we take photographs, etc. And it's a great place to go. I've been a couple of times over the last probably 20 years, but it was nowhere near, it was nothing like it is now. It really is a great spot. Free parking, good car park, and the food in there was very, very good, as me and my friends found out with their all-day breakfast, and the staff were really, really friendly. But anyway, I was there and I got this shout out, somebody shouted my name, and I just sort of looked round and this guy was waving, and it was Wayne, and he'd done a comment on the Sprite Major 6TD, and basically he'd had a lot of problems with his 2020 model and a dealer which we won't name, and he didn't, in all fairness. And he could have done, because I know some people out there who do go ranting and raving, and you've got to be careful. But anyway, and no feelings run high. I know it's like when something's not going right. But anyway, basically we had a good discussion. My friends were sort of waiting for me in the car park, wondering where I got to. But we had a good discussion about the quality and how it could be improved. And like I said to him, a lot of these still put together by human beings. And I think today people expect a lot more than what they did 10, 15 years ago. Because caravan prices have gone up so much that people are expecting it to be absolutely, no problems at all. And I agree on that, wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, things do happen, and it shouldn't do, but they do. The caravan industry hasn't got the resources as the motor industry, and they're nowhere near the size or the money to plough into development. It's still really quite a cottage industry, even though, you probably your nearest is going to be like your Heimer Trigano group, who've got the more vast resource of cash, but they'll have problems as well. And just one other thing. Chapper came on, he'd been offered a coach in Arcadia. I think it was the 575, so it was the transverse fixed bed and washroom for 26 grand. I think he was said he'd been told he could have it for. I said, it's a steal. Not a big fan of the new Arcadias myself. That's just my personal thing. The Arcadias, I think they're still well made, don't get me wrong. Still not bad kit, but I just don't think the lockers and everything and the curtains they put in them, the false curtains, I think they sort of just made them a bit down market. I think the 2024 models and previous to that felt far more upmarket for the price. But having said that, if you're being offered something like that for that sort of money, which is more like 32,000, it's it's very tempting, and if you like it, I would go for it. So that's that one from me. But anyway, thanks again for all the comments. Thanks again to people like Gary Batten, who comes on and comments, and people like Kevin Flood, Colin Mew, Alex's, a couple of Alex's, a couple of Andrews. I can't remember your names at the moment, your surnames, but I know you're all Andrews and Gary's. But it's great to hear you come back, and it's great that everybody. We've got a lot of new subscribers again. Even though I've been sort of pretty dormant this week, this week, last week really. So basically, really, what I'm saying is thank you for everybody that's coming on and looking through all the videos and picking videos that I did a long time ago and enjoying them. So I've got quite a few visits to do still. I've still got to go to the GRP people. I've still got to go and do to Dandy Folders and see them, and that will happen. And I've still got to get to see Mark at the Caravan place. I've been going to see him for the last couple of years, and we're going to go and do something together. We have mentioned it. We're going to do something, and that will come off at some stage. Also, I've got a bit of a project coming up, I think, with a park, a big park, that they contacted me literally yesterday, and they want to see me and have a chat and do something on a big anniversary they've got coming up for next year. So we've got to start thinking about that now, and so that's something to look forward to. But I've got my books as well, and I've still got to write for Practical Caravan. Now, you may have seen the Caravan Industry Experts Facebook page. If you haven't, go on there, follow it if you will. and like it. I've been practically been putting a few of some of my old used reviews on there. So I think there's a Coachman on there, it's ironically, and also Luna Riva. But they've been putting stuff on there, and if you go on Practical Caravan's website and you want to look at some of my old used stuff, you can go on there, put my name in, and it'll come up with all my used buys and some of the new stuff I've done, but all the buying tips of a particular brand and that model year. So Luna Riva picked 2017 or 16 it was, can't remember which now. And I don't only tell you about that particular van itself, but I also sort of tell you about what to look for generally across the Luna range for that model year. And with various other makes as well, so we do some sort of cheapy end ones and some more upmarket ones. So I like to do a bit of the cheap ones because I feel that there's a lot of people out there, and now I've become one of them, that can't afford much, and just because you haven't got a wad full of cash in your back pocket, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this video up, and I hope to see you with some new stuff over the next week or so, and please keep watching, please keep subscribing, and please keep giving your comments. I really enjoy listening to comments, good and bad. And also, if you've got any feedback on the books that you've bought, please let me know. You can go on the Caravan Industry Facebook page, and you could go on there, and or the Caravan History Books page, Facebook page as well. So it's got all the bits and pieces of all the books on there. But it'd be great to hear some feedback. And also have a very good Easter. I hope you all have a good Easter break. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.